Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Issac Cruz wins a very clear decision over Omar Salcido. Salcido came in as a late substitute for Angel Fierro, and he gave it everything. It was a game effort by Salcido. He did come in actually with 20 wins and 2 defeats, which is a pretty good, pretty good record. He's got 14 KOs in the wins column. Probably his best win, I suppose, was over Chris Colbert back in 2024, September, October, roughly, last third of the year anyway, last year. But then he fought Andy Cruz, lost a unanimous 10-round decision. That was one of those international, I think the IBF international belts or whatever. Jose Nunes was he was an undefeated fighter who beat Salcedo back in, was it 2 years ago? 2023, I think it was 2023. And, Salcedo's only 25, Mexican guy, tough kid. And against Cruz, it was a late replacement. Probably made a reasonable amount of money out of it. But it was a tall order to come in and fight Cruz. Cruz improved to 28 wins with 18 KOs. He's only 5'4", which for the 140-pound division, which is what we're in, is, short. I think Salcedo's about 3-4 inches taller. 3 inches taller, maybe. Cruz has got 3 defeats on his record. He ran Tank Davis pretty close back in 2021. He did lose a split decision to Jose Valenzuela and lost his WBA title, which he took off Rolly Romero. Stopped Rolly in 8 rounds, then lost a split decision to Valenzuela. But the Fierro fight, which was the fight after Valenzuela, I thought it was a unanimous decision, but I thought Fierro actually pinched that fight, or at the very least deserved a draw. And that's, I think, why they were having this rematch. But Fierro pulled out at the 11th hour. Pitbull weren't happy. So in steps Salcedo. Well, as game as he was, Salcedo was under the cosh from the opening bell. This was a 10-rounder. Because out comes Cruz, like you expect. Huge hooks, little guy, low centre of gravity, rushes forward, makes himself even smaller. If you remember the Fierro fight, he was actually shaken early on, so he can get caught and he can get hurt. But to be honest with you, Salcedo, even though he's got some KOs to his name, 14 out of 20 wins, it was still. He wasn't going to be able to do anything with Cruz. Cruz was too busy, too damn tough. It didn't look like Salcedo was particularly happy about having to punch down. I don't know how many shorter fighters he's faced in his career, but the smallness, the sort of little, it's almost like a little cannonball rolling towards you, isn't it? That seems to be giving him problems. He couldn't quite find his range or his timing. And Cruz was just very, very aggressive, as indeed he always is. Now, you've got to be a consistent, busy, tough boxer to beat Cruz. You've got to really, upset his rushes. Because you know exactly what Cruz is going to do. He's going to come at you. He's going to be that cannonball, hurtling towards you. He calls himself Pitbull, of course, but I think Cannonball would be a better nickname for him. And if you can do that, if you can use your feet, offset the rushes with side steps, obviously you don't go backwards. It's cardinal sin in boxing anyway, really, to go back in straight lines. But if you can just, pop in, move, slip and slide, you're going to give Cruz trouble all day long. But the problem was Salcido he couldn't get any kind of rhythm to his work at all. and it didn't look to me like his footwork was what it needed to be to offset Cruz. I mean, Cruz doesn't do anything scientifically, but he's not a boxing ignoramus. He moves his feet well. He doesn't always come in the front door. I mean, there is some bobbing and weaving going on, like a little mini Mike Tyson sort of thing. He loves the hooks. He bangs to the body very well with the much taller man. I mean, he was, like I said, about 3 or 4 inches taller, Salcido was. He was banging to the body with left, right, left, and then he'd bring it up top. Nothing really out of the ordinary from Cruz. We've seen it all before with him. But the sheer, if he can get his momentum going and he just fires these salvos of punches, they're coming from wide angles. There's never a straight punch. Very rarely throws a straight punch, Cruz. But he can just overwhelm you. And in the 8th round, it looked like he was about to overwhelm Salcido. Yeah, Salcido was warned for holding. And he took a bit of a battering in the 8th round. That was his worst round up to that point. But in the 10th round, he took even more of a battering. I think, did he have a point taken off? But I know, yeah, he did, didn't he? For holding, and then he suffered a knockdown. And the knockdown actually came about by him, again, leaning forward onto the smaller man, trying to hang on, and then Cruz battered him. And he just went down on all fours. It was sort of half voluntarily. And the referee counted him. And when the scores were read out, I mean, I think a couple of judges gave Salcido 1 round. But, of course, there was a 10-8 in the final round, and also one of the guys, I think, had it a whitewash. So a deserved win for Cruz. Salcido, game tough kid, came in late. Couldn't really do much, to be honest with you, but hopefully he got well paid. And he'll get more work because he's a tough kid who'll take your rounds. For Cruz, he remains sort of, you think he's beatable. He's only 27. I thought he was about 30 or 29, 30, but no, he's only 27. So he's got time. But you look at him and you think he can be beaten. He can be beaten. And because probably because of his stature, he doesn't quite have that, he doesn't quite have that physical ability to have variety in his work. He's got to be busy. He's got to be aggressive. And he is. And he'll beat a lot of 140-pounders using that method. But give him a taller, skillful, tough, busy opponent, and he's going to be outboxed, I think. He's going to be outboxed. So, good fighter, B+ fighter. But can he win another belt? Yeah, he can win another belt. But I'm not exactly sure. I think he'd have to be manoeuvred right, to be honest with you. But an exciting fighter to watch. Cruz is always good value for money, and he won the fight fair and square. Anyway, what did you think? What do you think of Cruz? How far can he go, do you think? Issac Cruz. Let me know. Comments below. Hit the like button if you like the video. And subscribe to the channel if you're new. I always appreciate your comments and your support. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Speak again soon. Bye for now.